The Jersey Jet picks up 10 grand in the Green Mountain State. Davis holds off Ricky for the biggest win of his career. Are you ready? Super Dirt Week 47 is around the corner. It's time to get things twisted, but not like that. Race Pro Weekly starts now. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. This past Sunday night was the anticipated Vermont 200 up at the Devil's Bowl Speedway. Let's head to the Green Mountain State now to see who would pick up the $10,000 prize in our opening highlight, brought to you by Landho Maintenance. We'll start you off with action from the Carl Attica Memorial as the Manimal Nick Stone would cruise to the win in the 29-lap feature event in the final night of the King of Dirt Series. Jason Casey be your 2018 champion. Is Stone happy to get out of the car? And hey, there's Rick Taylor. Can't go wrong with seeing him. The Vermont 200 up at the Devil's Bowl Speedway would see the Jersey Jet Brett Hearn take the early advantage. Here's Jesse Mueller working his way on the outside lane down into turn number 3 and 4, trying to fight for position in the top 5 early. And it wouldn't take Hearn long to catch the back of the field, just 9 laps in, putting a couple of cars down a lap. Joey Scarborough trying to fight through in that number 2 spot as he would work to get to the inside of Alan Hammond up off the corner as the caution will come out for Neil Stratton and Billy Lucier. Off of that caution flag, Brett Hearn, who had a left front flat tire, would be forced to come in, and he'd have to move his way toward the front of the field once again. So Joey Scarborough would take over into that number 1 spot. Bobby Hackle moving in a second down the back straightaway as the caution would come out for James Fadden in the 91 NH. Then off the restart, Hackle would look to the race lead up off of turn number 2 as he would take that spot away as the field would work down the backstretch. Mueller would move into the number 2 spot. It wouldn't be long before he would try to work the outside lane, trying to get to the lead, and he does, down the back straightaway in the second 50 of the first half of the race. Cars would work their way up into turn number 1 and 2 as the Dr. Danny Johnson trying to work his way up. Connor Cleveland in there as well, trying to fight for position, as Brett Hearn would easily be working his way back up, battling with VQ2 for position. Caution will come out for Justin Combs and Brent Warren, as that would be lap number 100 as the field would come back in. We move to the second half of the event. Mueller would take over once again up off of turn number 2 as Brett Hearn will methodically work his way back into the top 5, going around the 15 of Adam Pearson up into turn number 2. Now Bobby Hackle would slide underneath Mueller. He'd take the race lead away as Hearn slides in front of Scarborough for spot number 3. And then it wouldn't be long before Hearn would take the runner-up spot away, trying to get back to the front of the field. Hearn would try the inside lane to get by Bobby Hackle up off of turn number 2 as they fight for position. Then the big one, the pile up, a number of cars involved. You see Josh Sun in there, Jimmy Ryan backing out, Kenny Tremont involved as well, Paolo Pasquarella, Alex Bell, Scott Duell getting out and taking a look at the car. As Tremont would come down pit road, he would continue, but that 115 definitely mangled up. Off the restart, Bobby Hackle would work to the outside lane and hold on to the lead. Adam Pearson would move into 3rd, but then Hearn going to slide up in front of him off of turn number 4. He'd take that number 1 spot away as they work their way back down the front stretch. Adam Pearson would slide past the 19 of Jesse Mueller, holding on to that number 3 position, and would try to chase down the 97 of Bobby Hackle. Connor Cleveland and Jack Spieshak, who drives the 08, by the way, working his way down into turn number 3 and 4 as they fight for position. Meanwhile, Pearson going to get by Hackle for second as they work down the back straightaway, but it's all behind the Jersey Jet, who gets 10 grand to his name in the Vermont 200. Pearson would finish in second. Bobby Hackle would come home 3rd. Jesse Mueller 4th. And the Dr. Danny Johnson would round out the top 5. Nick Stone would pick up the win in the KOD Pro Stocks. Ron Case Memorial Sportsman on Saturday night would go to Ron Proctor. Jim McKiernan in the Super Stocks. Austin Shaves in the Mini Sprints. And Mini Stocks would go to Jason Porter. We'll start you off with some Meltz Lumber Pure Stock action as cars come together. Zach Sayerline and Gary O'Brien down the front stretch. They work their way down to the inside as Jeff Meltz gets involved, and then O'Brien going to go up and over. He picked up the win earlier in the night, but a tough break for the driver of the 57 machine. Final lap of this event, Dom Denyu going to work his way to the inside. He'd get by Ed Hatch for position. Hatch would go around through turn number 3 and 4, as that would leave Denyu to pick up the win in the Meltz Lumber Pure Stock event. To the King of Dirt Small Block Modifieds, young gun Ricky Davis would take the early race lead down the back straightaway as they fight for position. Working down the front stretch, here's Jesse Mueller trying to make a bid on J.R. Hefner for position up into turn number 1 and 2. Mark Johnson working his way on the outside lane, trying to get by the outlaw L.J. Lombardo off of turn number 4 as they go side by side for position. Bobby Varon, the point leader in the 358 Modifieds, working his way up through the field as Mark Johnson had a long way to go to try to catch him before this event finished up. Lombardo trying to work his way up. Brett Haas would have a great run going, trying to work his way up into the top 5 in the number 55 machine as well, up off of turn number 4. Holding off Lombardo for position as Bobby Varon would methodically work his way up through the field in the Palmer Service Center car number 76 machine. Varon would get by Johnson in the top 10 as we move toward the closing stages of this feature event, as Demetrius Drelos and Kenny Tremont going to be side by side with the 111, holding them off in the late stages. Ricky Davis would still be out in front of this one in the number 43 machine by a wide margin, as the top 3 KOD point getters will be right together coming down the front stretch with Varon sitting in that spot. Mueller would try to get underneath Mark Johnson for position up off at turn number 2 in the back half of the top 10 as Ricky Davis picks up the win in the KOD small blocks. A very happy man. I know his dad Rick very happy down in victory lane as well, as he would pick up the victory. Allison Ricky with a strong run coming home second. RJ would finish in third, Brett Haas fourth, and Demetrius Drelos fifth. It's now time for this week's John Ray & Sons fan poll question, which is, did you enjoy the Vermont 200 at the Devil's Bowl Speedway? Head to Facebook.com/RaceProWeekly to cast your answer, and we'll take a look at the results on next week's show. Let's take a look at last week's question, which was, who would win the Vermont 200, a modified driver or a sportsman driver? Well, as you saw, it was the Jersey Jet Brett Hearn picking up the win, so it was a modified, and that's how 75% of you voted. Coming up on Race Pro Weekly, we check in with some more King of Dirt small block action out at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway, and we'll go to Fonda as they come back after their break from the fair.
Hi, I'm Eric Pope, General Manager of John Ray & Sons. We're proud to be offering Bryant heating and air conditioning systems. Just like us, Bryant has been delivering home comfort solutions for more than a century.
Call today for a free consultation and save up to $875 with Bryant bonus rebates.
I'm Michael Laporte, Service Manager. From sales to service, our goal is to keep you comfortable, whatever it takes. Ductless AC is a perfect solution for homes without ductwork, new additions, or anywhere you need cool relief.
Call or visit johnray.com today.
You know, Mother Nature makes the best products, and Ghent Wood Products in Columbia County has figured out the secret. We use locally harvested trees, milled and kiln-dried right on site in Ghent. We stock rough-cut lumber, green or kiln-dried. If you prefer finished products, we offer that too, including shiplap, flooring, paneling, exterior siding, and tabletops. Come check out the reclaimed mushroom wood and barnwood siding. We combine the mill experience with a retail store, so you can go straight to the mill and handpick the wood you want.
There's only one place in the Capital Region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. King of Dirt Small Block Nationals. We'll get things started with Mark Johnson and Bobby Varon up at the front of the field. It would be the 76 of Varon in that Palmer Service Center entry, going to roll up on the outside lane up off the corner. He'd lead in the early going of this feature event. Here's Ronnie Johnson barreling to the inside. He'll get by Kenny Tremont up off at turn number 2 for position. Then he'll sneak by the 3J of Mark Johnson coming down the front straightaway as they touched a little bit going up into turn number 1 and 2. Jason Harrington and Demetrius Drelos trying to work their way up on the outside lane as the 111 machine comes down to take the position away, looking to crack the top 5, and then it wouldn't be long before Ronnie Johnson would power to the inside trying to get by Bobby Varon for the number 1 spot. He'd do it in lap traffic as they try to split the 9X of Jim Introne down the back straightaway, and it would be the 2RJ going to the front. Rocky Warner would make contact with the 111 of Demetrius Drelos trying to stay out of the way of the 9X of Introne coming off the corner, and eventually Warner would gather some steam as he would go by the 115 of Kenny Tremont on the inside lane. RJ just mowing him down through the field on the outside lane, going inside to outside that time off the corner as Mark Johnson looked to take the number 2 spot away back from the 76 of Bobby Varon. They be side-by-side down the back straightaway and into turn number 3 and 4 where the White Knight would rock the bottom of the racetrack to take the runner-up position away in lap traffic and set his sights on race leader Ronnie Johnson. Off of turn number 4, Johnson would continue to close the gap as the yellow would come out between Nick Lucier and the 69 of Randy Green, setting up a restart, but Ronnie Johnson strong to the challenge on the outside lane would take the number 1 spot back away. Here's Kenny Tremont trying to make a bid on Bobby Varon for third as they roll down to the corner. Rocky going to sneak up to the top side. Here's Mark Johnson on the last lap trying to make a move to the outside of Ronnie Johnson, but it wouldn't be enough as RJ on the way picks up the win in the small block nationals. The White Knight would have to settle for second. Bobby Varon would come home third, Kenny Tremont fourth, and Rocky Warner would finish in fifth. To the track of champions we go. Hondo Classic as Nick Stone gets turned by Kenny Gates down the back straightaway. Tommy Dean comes in out of nowhere toward the end of it, but it would be the 35 of Gates that would go on to win this year's edition of the Hondo Classic. To the modified feature event now as the field works its way down the front stretch. Jeremy Wilder and the Genoa Giant Pat Ward going to make their way down the backstretch with a 42P taking the advantage down to the turn number 3 and 4. He'd fight his way up toward the front in the early going as cars would scatter off the corner. Dave Constantino battling with the 11A of Kyle Armstrong as now here comes Ryan Odaz in the 85 on the inside lane. He'd work his way to the bottom and slide past the 11A up off of turn number 2. Pat Ward will continue to work his way down through the short chute and past the Cow Palace out in the front of the field as the caution will come out for the 73 of Cody Blue. Off the restart, it would be the driver of the 42 back out in front, but Jeremy Wilder would take the position up off of turn number 2 and go back to the front of the field off of turn number 4 as Rocky Warner and Willie Decker would come right behind them fighting for position in that 1J. The Flying Squirrel looking to work the bottom as they go down into turn number 3 and 4. Decker up on the top side looking to make a move. He'd take the number 3 spot back from him as they go up into turn number 1 and 2 once again. Now Warner battles back on the inside and a great battle for that position. Field works its way up off of turn number 4 as Cody Blue tries to work his way back up through the field. Then you can see the battle for the lead look to shape up again as here's Pat Ward going to dive to the bottom of Jeremy Wilder to take the lead. Wilder would come back on the inside lane to get it back up the back straightaway, but then Ward to the outside, showing his veteran prowess up off of turn number 4 as they come down the front stretch and touch. And then it'll be Ward taking the advantage down the back straightaway as your new race leader in the Gypsum Express car number 42. That would be all he needed as the Genoa Giant picks up the win at the Track of Champions. Jeremy Wilder would finish in second. Rocky Warner would come home third. Willie Decker fourth. And Ryan Odaz would finish in fifth. Hondo Classic, Kenny Gates picking up the win. Josh Coonrad would come home second. Luke Horning third. Nick Stone fourth. And Jay Casey would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Sportsman would go to Mark Mortensen. Josh Benezik in the CRSA Sprints. Street Stocks to Michael Arnold. Rob Sanford in the Mohawk Valley Vintage Modified. Mohawk Valley Vintage Sportsman would go to Doug Mathewson. And the Mohawk Valley Vintage Late Model would go to Bill Lees. Coming up on RPW Championship Night down at the Ulster County Bull Ring. And we'll see who picked up the championship in sportsman competition down on the high banks. Performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products. Race to win.
Spring is finally here and the temperatures are rising and the deals are hotter than ever. Hi, I'm Charlie Morris of Morris Ford in Burnt Hills. You have to come in for the hottest cars, trucks, and SUVs on the market today here at Morris Ford, all with leading technology and advanced safety. With thousands off and low payments, there's never been a better time to buy a new Ford. So come in to Morris Ford and let us show you why we've been selling cars in the Capital District for over 46 years.
Our yours will always be number 1.
Reputable, reliable, results. That's what you get when you call Rick and the professionals at RCT Roofing. Quality service at fair prices. RCT gets the job done. Just like Nick Stone and the RCT Pro Stock. RCT Roofing, we've got you covered. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly as we head to the Ulster County Bull Ring, where Kent Ferrier would take the early race lead in this event as he would shove Van Duzer out of the way. Then a great three-car battle up off the corner as Danny Creedon going to try to fight his way to the inside, battling with Anthony Perego. Perego not going to waste any time going to the top side. He'll get by Joe Judge down the backstretch, and a little bit of contact. Richie Urich and Danny Creedon all involved. Field would work its way up off of turn number 2 as Van Duzer holding on to that number 2 spot off the corner as cars would get together, as that's Danny Tyler in there along with Mike Rickey and Danny Creedon. Off the restart, Ferrier would still lead this one, but Perego would sneak another car down the back straightaway to move into spot number 3, then pull a slider on Van Duzer for second up off of turn number 2 to hold that position and set his sights on Ferrier. He tried to work his way to the inside, but Ferrier comes back with a nice crossover up off of turn number 2 as the caution would come out for Nick Johnson and the 959 of Johnny Lutz. Off the restart, Ferrier would take the number 1 spot again as they roll down the back straightaway. Cars scattering 4 wide coming down the front stretch. Get together a little bit, but Creedon and Urich going to get ahead of that deal. Meanwhile, here's Perego on the inside trying to take a race lead away, but Ferrier again just too strong in this great side-by-side battle as the caution comes out for Danny Tyler and Nick Johnson. Then off the restart, Perego would take the long way around up off of turn number 2. He'd be your new race leader as they fight for position as Jam and Jimmy Wells trying to get by Kyle Van Duzer coming down into turn number 3 and 4 that time. And here's Wells trying to make the bid, but Van Duzer too strong as he follows Mike Rickey through the corner. Danny Creedon with some early trouble in that 5L machine trying to work his way up through the field. He'd sneak a couple of cars off the corner with a great move coming off of turn number 1 to take a position away down the backstretch. Meanwhile, Creedon, that time he got into Rickey a little bit trying to rough up the left front. As they continue to work through the field, Mike Rickey battling with Jam and Jimmy Wells as he tries to catch Ferrier for the number 2 spot off the corner. Then Creedon going to try to get Van Duzer once again as they work down the back straightaway, but it's all behind Anthony Perego, who gets the win and the championship down at Accord. Ferrier would finish in second, Jimmy Wells would come home third, Iron Mike Rickey would come home fourth, and Danny Creedon would finish in fifth. Sportsman feature event at the Valley of Speed would see Ted Teal take the early advantage in the number 76 machine as he'd work his way up into turn number 1 and 2 of these. Take a look at John Virgilio going to make a move. He'd go to the inside lane and pick up a number of cars down the front straightaway, trying to get into the top 5 as Whitey Slavin and Carl Barnes come together up in between turn number 3 and 4, leaving Barnes up on the corner. Off the restart, Field would work its way off at turn number 2 as Cody Oakes would take that number 2 spot, but a 3-wide battle as Virgilio going to work his way up on the outside. Chris Curtis gets hung up on the outside wall. Trouble for him and Pete Carlotto, who were trying to pick up the point title in this event. Rob Maxon going to work his way down the back straightaway, needing a win and a lot of help in this final event of the 2018 season as Virgilio would methodically work his way up through the field, getting into the number 2 spot just 3 laps into the event, getting by Cody Oakes. He wouldn't waste any more time, going to get by Ted Teal up off of turn number 4 as well as they break it down the front straightaway as it would be the 14 of Virgilio now. And keep an eye on the Perillo Services car number 22 and Tim Hartman Jr. He worked through turn number 3 and 4 but makes contact with Vinny Visconti, and that would bring the yellow out once again. Off the restart, Virgilio would still hold on to this advantage as Whitey Slavin trying to work his way up through the field in the closing stages of this event. Nicky Ouellette up on the outside lane. Angelo DiCarlo in there as Chris Curtis trying to work his way all the way back up through the field with a very fast manner in that number 35 machine. Teal would be holding on to that number 3 spot as Whitey Slavin would try to work underneath here with 7 laps left to go. Slavin going to sneak by Teal, and then Hartman would follow going down into turn number 3 and 4 as they fight for position. Going up into turn number 1 and 2, it would be Slavin trying to hold off Hartman in the closing stages, all behind John Virgilio, who picks up the win in the Sportsman finale at the Valley. Second would be Rob Maxon. Whitey Slavin, the track champion, would come home third. Tim Hartman Jr. fourth. And Ted Teal would round out the top 5. Mel's Lumber Pure Stock Classic would go to Dom Denyu. Pure Stock 1 to Gary O'Brien. Jeff Krutzinger picking up the win in Pure Stock 2. 4-cylinder single cam to Devin Bezzi. And Kenny Stager in the 4-cylinder dual cam. We're taking one more trip away from the show here on RPW, but when we come back, we'll have some 305 sprint car action with the CRSA and give out our Performer of the Week. Keep it locked right here on Race Pro Weekly. If you are a tracker series that would like to be highlighted on Race Pro Weekly, email us at show@raceproweekly.com. Welcome back to RPW CRSA Sprint Cars, also on the card out at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway this past Friday night, as Thomas Rattaboy would take the lead down the back straightaway in the early going of this event. Josh Panizek trying to make a move down on the inside lane as they fight for position in the early going of this one. Darrell Ruggles in there as well as they work down the back straightaway, continuing to push their way up through the field. A great slide job for position as they carry it down the front straightaway. Jesse Pruknick trying to make his way up through the field. Here's Dustin Purdy up on the outside lane, grabbing a couple cars as well. Emily V trying to make her way up through on the inside lane in that number 19 car, as it would be Rattaboy still out in the front of the field as Jeff Trombley in the 3A would start to make his way up toward the front on the outside. Meanwhile, Dalton Herrick would catch the one of Rattaboy up off of turn number 2. We get within a couple sprint car lanes, then make a great move and try to slide job him up off of turn number 4. Here's Trombley trying to dig to the inside one more time off the corner, trying to make it stick, but Herrick just too strong as Rattaboy still at the front. He can throw a blanket over the top 3 in the closing stages of this one, but Rattaboy continuing to lead, and here's Herrick with his best shot, going to try to slide up in front of him. Can't do it now as they work off the corner. Panizek going to make his presence known in 4th, trying to get by Trombley for position, but it's all behind Thomas Rattaboy, who picks up the win. Herrick would finish in 2nd, Trombley would come home 3rd, Panizek 4th, and Darrell Ruggles would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Justin Buff would grab the win in the Limited Sportsman Street Stocks, would go to Jimmy Duncan. Rookie Sportsman action down at the Ulster County Bull Ring, as it would be Robbie Colburn going to take the early race lead in this feature event as the cars scatter down the back straightaway. Great battle between Samantha Muller and Jeff Higgum for position as they fight up into turn number 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway they would go, and then Higgum would work his way to the inside, trying to get past Muller for position before he'd get tagged in turn number 2. He'd be sent around, bringing out the caution. Off the restart, the Land Home Maintenance Machine of John Brown in the 76 going to roll his way to the number 1 spot as he would battle Colburn for position, with Brian Durbin right behind him coming down the front straightaway. And there's that battle between Muller and Higgum again, going back at it down the back straightaway as well as they fight for position. But back to the front, here's Colburn on the inside as John Brown trying to work his way up on the outside lane. He would carry his momentum off of turn number 4 and work it to the front of the field as this battle continues up off of turn number 2. As off of turn number 4, though, your winner, Land Ho style, goes to John Brown. Brown very happy getting out of the car as he picks up the win. Colburn finishing 2nd, Brian Durbin 3rd, Jeff Higgum 4th, and Michael Corbin round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Chris Van Duzer winning the Sportsman event. Wingless sprints to Jeremy Quick, John Heckinger in the rear stocks, 4 cylinders to Mike Travis, and Richard Smith in the held over 4 cylinders. Super Dirt Week 47 gets started in just 2 weeks with qualifying at the Oswego Speedway. Let's take a look back at last year with some of the sights and sounds from the big event.
Oktoberfest, racing's biggest party.
Here comes Shepherd.
Napa Super Dirt Week returns October 3rd through the 7th to the Steel Palace, Oswego Speedway. Music, camping, and ground-pounding dirt track racing. Friday Night Lights, Saturday Spectacular, Sunday's 200-lap finale. New York's biggest racing event on dirt. It's one party you don't want to miss. October 3rd through the 7th.
It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week, and with his win in the KOD Small Block Race at Lebanon Valley, it goes to Ricky Davis. Davis is now eligible for the Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online at www.raceproweekly.com and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So for myself, Bobby Chalmers, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.